A czy jest coś, czego nie lubisz w Polsce?
People think that Poles are rude just because they're rude.
That is something that I kind of don't like.
There's a difference when it comes to our values.
Polacy za dużo narzekają, to jak sport narodowy.
I think Poland could benefit a little bit from kindness.
And I'm like, oh, why you didn't say that in the first place?
And I said no, and he spit on me.
That's one thing that definitely still has some room for improvement.
Something I don't like, not really.
Wow, you made this into a positive question about Poland.
Nie rozumiem, czemu jest taki podejście tak negatywne, że nie wiem, zaraz z Polską padnie.
Hey aliens, in today's video we asked foreigners, what do you dislike about Poland?
Polish people love to complain. Today, let's hear foreigners complain.
Let's get started.
Witamy na kanale. Czy mógłbyś się przedstawić?
Witam, nazywam się Tom Hashimoto, jestem profesor uczelni na ekonomii, jestem z Japonii.
My name is JT. I run a social media channel titled Vigo's Dad. I'm from the Dominican Republic.
My name is Ikram. I'm originally from Morocco. I live in Poland for 1 year.
Nazywam się Adrian, jestem z Meksyku i mieszkam w Polsce od 7 lat.
Cześć, I'm Yutaro from Tokyo, Japan, and now I live in Krakow, Poland for 2 years.
So I'm Maria. I'm from the Netherlands. I live about almost 4 years in Poland.
My name is Samuel Ferreira. I'm from Brazil and I live in Warsaw.
So I'm Jack. I've been living in Poland for almost 5 years. I teach business English here.
My name is Felipe. I'm from Chile and I've been living in Poland for 10 years.
My name is Dalya. I've been in Poland for 3 years and a half. I was born and raised in France, originally from Baghdad, Iraq.
Mam na imię Ilshad, przyjechałam z Azerbejdżanu 2 lata temu i mój polski jest wspaniały.
My name is Andres. I'm from Mexico, but I'm also half Polish. I was born in Mexico, but I moved here 2 years ago.
A czy jest coś, czego nie lubisz w Polsce?
Makaron truskawkami. Przepraszam, no, to jest masakra.
To jest kontrowersyjne.
Tak. Makaron z truskawkami, ryż z truskawkami, no co to jest? To nie, ja nie mogę, nie.
What I dislike the most, it's impatience. There's a lot of impatience. And that leads, of course, to some rudeness. I know where it stems from. People think that Poles are rude just because they're rude. 8 times out of 10, they're being rude because they're impatient. Even with my wife, we are like, if we have an argument, most of the time is because, she's being a typical impatient Pole.
And how does that differ to Dominicans?
It's the opposite spectrum, but all the way to the negative, We are so patient. We postpone things and things take longer unnecessarily. So I guess I'm becoming a little bit more Polish because sometimes I'm talking to some friends and I'm like, why are we talking so much? Let's make a decision. You know what I mean? Like,
How has Poland changed you?
that's turned me more impatient and I guess a little bit more grumpy.
Anything positive? Or maybe that is positive.
That is positive and negative. To be fair, I've become a lot more efficient at doing things because you have to respect people's time here a lot. I think that most of the times Poles are quite stressed, sometimes without a reason. For example, here salaries are not the highest in the world or whatever, but people live a decent life. All their basic needs are somewhat covered, especially when you compare it to countries like Dominican Republic. There are developing countries and you go to the countryside and you scratch your head thinking, how do these people live, So they do have everything they need. And somehow, some way, they're still stressed. So I would just, a little bit of that Latino easygoingness of life, like, hey, chill. How Poles feel when they have a couple of shots of vodka at a, schlub or of a celle, It's like, okay. But not too many.
In Poland, I sometimes didn't understand why you need paperwork for everything. Just when you go to the government buildings and you have to arrange some things, paper, and then this has to be done. Oh, you have to copy paste it yourself. You should come with these documents, and then you're thinking that you have the right document, and then they're still coming back to you, and they're like, no, you need to do this. Oh no, you should have this kind of signature. And I'm like, oh, why you didn't say that in the first place? Well, for those kind of things, I've been coming to the place so often that I think, come on, just tell me what I need. Why it has to be so difficult? So
Polish administration, sort yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Fakt, że oni są bardzo negatywni. Jest bardzo dużo pozytywnych rzeczy tutaj w Polsce. Nie rozumiem, czemu tak bardzo się stresują i czemu tak często potrafią, jak patrzysz na Polskę, jakieś negatywne świetle. Bo założyłem, że tak naprawdę Polacy narzekają więcej o Polsce niż obcokrajowcy. I dla mnie to jest strasznie ironiczne. Wydaje mi się, że większość obcokrajowców są zadowoleni z tutaj, a Polacy nie. Dla mnie to jest przepiękny kraj. Co nie lubię, to jest ta kultura narzekania. Wydaje mi się, że zamiast jakoś ulepszyć tę sytuację, w ogóle jak o czym zaczynasz narzekać, tylko po prostu zostaje, że coraz ważniejsze, nie poprawia w ogóle tą sytuację. Też z tego powodu widzę, że Polacy dużo się stresują. Nie widzę, czemu powinni ktoś się stresować. Ogólnie w Polsce wszystko jest, do pewnego stopnia wszystko jest w porządku. Nie? To nie będzie jakieś tornado czy wulkan. Jest bardzo bezpiecznie, jest bardzo spokojnie. spokojnie, bezporowe, bo bocie jest bardzo niskie, więc ja nie rozumiem, czemu jest taki podejście tak negatywne, że nie wiem, zaraz Polska upadnie.
I think Poland could benefit a little bit from kindness and from a little bit of flexibility sometimes. It's very stiff.
You said before that they were direct and that you liked that. Do you think these two things are connected in some way?
It's connected. I just prefer real than fake. What you see is what you get, and I like that kind of reality about Poland. But sometimes they're too direct. So just like be real and deliver that reality with kindness. Something like in the middle. Brazil has a culture truly based on happiness, and I'm not saying that Polish people are not happy. They are happy too in their way, but we are like smiley, we dance more, we speak louder, we move more, we are more touchy, and all those things happen in Poland, but in specific situations, let's say less very warm in Brazil and a little colder in Poland.
Could you maybe give us some contexts where you encountered this?
Absolutely. So for example, yesterday I went to a store. It was 9:59. And when I approached the door, the lady got out. I scared myself. And then I said in Polish, "O Boże." And then she kind of screamed at me like, "No, we are closed." And I think in Brazil it wouldn't happen. They would like give you an extra minute so you to wrap up and get what you need and keep going with your day. So this kind of unflexibility, it's very common here.
Quick disclaimer, guys. This is not an ad.
If you've reached this point and you start to feel a bit angry and you feel like commenting, if you don't like it here, then leave, deportation button, VIP just take a deep breath.
So we do interviews with people where we ask them about all kinds of questions like what do you like about Poland, don't like, challenges, language, racism, everything. And then we take small parts of the video, for example, what they don't like about Poland in this video. So it's not the only thing that they have spoken about. So let's get back to it.
Something I don't like, not really. Maybe the winter. And I think most people would answer the winter time. It can be harsh, not just the temperature, but the fact that the sun sets really early. You need to wake up early and then enjoy really the daylight and then prepare yourself for the long nights.
But that's it, winters, that's all?
Maybe sometimes it's not something I dislike, but something that it's hard is not being able to communicate because I don't speak Polish. I know some words. And for example, when I'm meeting someone, I would love to have like a small conversation with them, but I really can't, especially if it's like an old person or maybe even a child. So I just smile and I'm like, I should really study Polish.
Some things were tough to adjust to in the beginning. Maybe sometimes the customer service wasn't up to the standard, certainly in the UK. One of the things I would say I miss the most is like a smile from a stranger, especially when going into a żabka or into a coffee shop. It's slowly changing, especially among the younger generation, but it is slow still. So I would say that's one thing that definitely still has some room for improvement.
Is it because somebody didn't put milk on your tea? Did it upset you?
Well, yeah, things are not on time. For example, transportation, shipments, like delivery, something like this, like always delayed. It's stressful actually because in Japan everything is on time. I think that's the things I don't like. Not only Poland, but people in Europe, homeless people talk to you. In Japan, homeless people never talk to you. They try to hide from society. But here I had an experience. One homeless guy talked to me. He asked me beer or money and I said no and he spit on me.
Well, sorry about that, man.
Yeah, it was awful, but like I was really shocked. Like I was speechless. They say something curse word in Polish and then just,
But also can be very exceptionally unfortunate and not the norm as well.
To mi się wydaje, że ludzie tutaj są bardziej paranoiczni, przejmują się za dużo. Większość ludzi boi się dawać swój numer, boi się pokazywać jakieś swoje dane. Oni non-stop ukrywają wszystko, nawet miasto, zamieszkanie. My nie mamy coś takiego w Azerbejdżanie. Jedyne to, ja jestem bardzo otwartym człowiekiem i to robi takie bariery, kiedy chcę poznać wszystkim. No i narzekanie. Polacy za dużo narzekają, to jak sport narodowy.
Tak, zgadzam się z tym. A jeśli mógłbyś przenieść jedną rzecz z Azerbejdżanu do Polski, co by to było?
To będzie banalne, ale kebaby. Naprawdę, bo nawet najlepszy kebab w Polsce jest o wiele razy gorszy niż najgorszy w Azerbejdżanie.
Możesz polecić jakieś kebaby w Warszawie?
Nie.
Nie?
Mi się nie pasuje. Ja po prostu chodzę po Warszawie, szukam. To jakby moja rutyna codzienna, szukać kebaby. Ja jestem jak taki kebab boy, ja nawet wyglądam jak kebab boy.
A byłeś w tej restauracji Elegance? To jest dobra restauracja. Ona w ogóle chyba jest prowadzona przez ludzi z Azerbejdżanu, tak mi się wydaje.
Tym bardziej nie chciałbym.
Something that I don't like is that I feel like people are a bit reserved. If you come alone, it's gonna be challenging at first to make friends. There's a difference when it comes to our values. For us, the main values are hospitality, generosity, helping person in need. With strangers, it's okay to talk. Actually, it's it's considered that that's the right thing to do. If you have a tourist who doesn't have any kind of information, you actually can take him to the place. We invite people to our home, we cook for them, because it's part also of religion. We need to take care of everybody as if they are family, and especially if they come from a different country, we take in consideration that they could feel lost, they could feel overwhelmed, they could feel shy, so we always try to initiate conversation with them.
And how would you compare that to Poland?
Here they have an individualistic approach. You have to rely on yourself. Between strangers, I don't see that they talk to each other on a daily basis, not because they are selfish or they don't like people, but it's a different culture.
Bureaucracy. And I also don't like one dish, which is flaky. Another thing is like that people are very structured here in the way that they're not very spontaneous. If you call somebody just to go for a beer or to have a coffee, you need to do this in advance, 2-3 weeks, and they have to check their calendar and tell you, okay, I have time this day. That is something that I kind of don't like.
Compared to the easygoingness of the Latino-ness, like you're missing that in Poland.
Exactly. In general, you have to kind of like adapt to this schedule.
For me, it's really difficult to find something that I don't like. So maybe watching the TV with lector, I don't really like that much.
Yeah.
I understand that in Slavic countries, it was very common that they had this part of it. But to me, it feels so unnatural that you watch TV and you have the lector and it's just one person speaking over all the voices, and to me it just doesn't feel natural, you know, because I'm not used to it at all.
Does your mom watch like TV with lector?
Actually, she doesn't like it either, so
you don't have to, like,
yeah.
No one's forcing you to watch it.
Yeah, I know. For me, life here is so good that it's the only thing that I can think about that I really don't like, I guess.
Wow, he's made this into a positive question about Poland. What do you not like? It's like, wow, okay. And that actually speaks so highly about Poland. That's cool.
I sometimes get shocked when I hear Polish people be surprised that I find life in Poland to be so good. And to me, it's a bit sad even sometimes that they ask me, like, do you like life in Poland? And I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's great. Like, it's such a good country. I like life here. I'm very happy. And they are surprised by it. And to me, it's shocking. Like, sometimes I think they still have this idea that Western Europe is better. I have gotten the chance to travel more recently, and I really don't understand why they think it's better. Poland is as good a country as any, and I really enjoy my life here.
So Aman, what do you hate about Poland?
Where do I get started? Honestly, Polish.
One eternity later.
Wow, Aman, you mastered the art of complaining. Here's your Polish citizenship.
No way! Dziękuję bardzo. Polska górą. Kocham Polskę. Maybe Polska dla